Hi everyone, Michael here, and I'm back with the onboarding series. This is going to be step 11 or step 4 for specifically for the accounting integration. And today we're going to select the integration settings. In the previous videos, we went over how to connect your QuickBooks or Xero account, and a very important step of finalizing your chart of accounts and mapping, and importing vendors and customers. And now that all of that has been done, we need to just select some of important settings and then we can start syncing, but we will go over that in the next video. So let's go ahead and click on select accounting settings, and we'll be taken to this page. Let me move myself a little bit to the right. We will be taken to this accounting sync settings page. And so there are a couple of important settings and dates over here, and let's go over them one by one from top to bottom. So the first important setting is sync allowed from. So this is important to set, but in the beginning this is probably just going to be your start date. Basically what this setting determines is the cutoff date when the syncing is allowed to happen. So for example, let's just imagine that a customer started working with NeonPanel on the 1st of January 2024, and once they closed the year, for this purpose, let's imagine in January 2025, the chief accountant and the business owners and the leadership team didn't want any changes in the NeonPanel account to affect their QuickBooks because the reporting period is over, and so they want to make sure that nothing changes in QuickBooks. What they could do is they could just set the sync allowed from to be 1 year later, and so the whole period of a year of 2024 is now, well, actually, once I click save at the bottom, well, we'll do the first settings. We'll do the rest of the settings first. So once you change this to sync allowed from 2025-01/01, so 1st of January, nothing can change in 2024 in your QuickBooks flowing from NeonPanel. Of course, manual changes are still possible. You could lock your QuickBooks or Xero accounts. They have this functionality as well. But as far as NeonPanel is concerned, nothing can be synced or updated regarding the year 2024. So this is an important setting to keep in mind, just to make sure that you have the control that you want over your data. Now, that is the first level of protection, but individual projects, individual types of documents have their own start dates. So let's say that you wanted for nothing to be changing in 2024, but for cost of goods sold, you said that, okay, I want nothing to change, not just in 2024, but up to May 1st, 2025. For whatever reason, your accountant said, hey, there cannot be any changes earlier than May 2025 because I closed my books and I want nothing changing, etc., etc. So you can set up individual start dates for documents as well. Now, if you have a start date of 2024 in here, but 2025 in here, this one will take precedence. So still, even invoices and journal entries, which individually are allowed to be synced, but the overall lock is there. So no document types at all will be synced in 2024, even if the individual date allows that. So you can change the dates with that in mind. And the last thing that you want to choose is whether to have the sync status on manual, auto, or off. So, for example, most users don't use the invoices with journal entries with COGS included. So this setting should be off. That's because we have two separate documents in our register, one for all the sales and the different expenses and clawbacks and all that coming from Amazon and your other sales channels. And separately but related to that, we have a document that writes off the cost of goods quality, so the COGS, and decreases your asset values. But that would be a separate document. So because you don't want to create a duplicate of all this information, you don't want to have the invoice with COGS included and then also them separately as well. So you probably want to keep this one off and then choose for the rest of the documents whether you want it manual or auto. What is the difference? The difference between manual and auto is that with manual, you would have to sync your documents from the register one by one. So I will go over this in detail in the next video, but let me just show you what I mean. There are just two documents in here, so this will suffice for the demonstration purposes. Manual sync just means that when you open the register and let's say you want to sync this journal entry, right? You can just click here and click sync, right? And after a short period of time, this will sync, and so you can do this manually one by one. That's what manual means. Now, auto means that whenever there is an update in the register for a specific document or a new journal entry in the register has been created, it automatically just syncs over to QuickBooks. Now, most accountants that I have had the pleasure of working with, they choose manual. Even though in the beginning of the onboarding process, they think, oh yeah, auto is great. It will just, I don't need to do anything. It will just go to my QuickBooks. Actually, when they have their day-to-day work, they want to have a little bit more control. They first want to verify that everything is in order, that the journal entries are created, and they can verify that yes, the numbers are correct. And once they've done that, then they want to click sync and they're happy with the document to be synced over. They usually don't want the information to just be flowing constantly because they feel like they lack that level of control that they would ultimately want. So as you can see, even in this demo account, everything is set to manual except this one that we talked about. So once I'm happy with these settings, I can click save and these settings have been updated successfully. So that's really all there is to it. There are a few considerations, so you will need to think about what settings to choose. But in terms of the mechanics of how to do this, it is quite simple. So let's go back to our onboarding page and click this select integration settings. We are almost there. In the next video, we'll finish the last task, which is actually to start syncing your information over to QuickBooks or Xero. So I'll see you there.